Alright, this is going to be the final guide video I do for this game, so listen up! The following guide is for running a successful legendary campaign on the latest Chaos Gate update, Execution Force. The update changed up the meta quite a bit, so here's everything that you will need to know that will help you succeed in your campaign. A great way to start the legendary campaign is to save scum. Yes, just keep restarting the campaign over and over again until you get an interceptor with the Great Destiny trait in your opening roster. Great Destiny plus Force Strike upgrade plus a Thunderhammer allows you to one-shot cultists and two-shot Chaos Marines. In a game with only 3 action points per turn, this makes a huge difference in the early fights. An interceptor with Deathless trait is also acceptable, however building a surgical unit early becomes your #1 priority. For an easy autopilot early campaign, even on legendary Grandmaster setting, pick the Calidus Assassin on day 60 and follow my Calidus guide. Link in the top right corner and description below. For a little bit more involved and late game proof campaign, pick Calexis. Why? Cause she can do this.
The Eye of Vengeance!
That was one shot on a hell brute. Yeah, she's the strongest. Keep the Purgator around until Cadex fight. Go the Silencer route and use Disrupt Shot on Cadex to nullify his teleport nonsense and delete him in one turn. Vindicare Assassins can also fulfill this role, but they scale worse into the late game than the Purgator. After the Cadex fight, you can return the Purgator to Titan if you are strapped for requisition points. The ship build order is now different from my last video. Previously, I advised to avoid technophage missions early because they were too difficult to complete without leaving your squad absolutely crippled. This meant abandoning a lot of missions with servitor rewards, which are indispensable in the early game, which forced you to make the augmentation chamber super early. But because of how powerful some of the assassins are, you can easily farm technophage missions from the get-go. So now, the first thing you need to upgrade is the Augurium. Get up to 2 Prognosticars and deploy them here and here. This will allow you to delay building speed upgrades. After that, max out the augmentation chamber, and then start working on speed. Do not fight Cadex until you have speed upgraded to level 2. This means delaying the Craftwell mission to day 300 or more. As always, for intervention events and Grandmaster reports, pick the option that rewards construction speed. There's a great guide on Steam that lists the results of all options of every single intervention event and Grandmaster report. Use it to find all the construction speed options. For Armory, prioritize maxing out a weapon slot of your preferred playstyle, either range or melee, the War Gear slot, and the Assassin slot. Assassins can unlock tier 3 equipment very early and gives them a massive power spike. The Assassin Armory should be your #1 priority. Leave the Knight Requisition in the Armory at level 1 so you can recruit low-level units for cheap. They have only 1 resilience, so they are easier to kill off and use for over-leveling your main squads. Still can't get over the whole feed brothers to make them stronger mech, but it makes my murder machines more murdery, so I can't complain. The only tier 1 gear you should purchase are weapons that have 5 native damage and extra damage on Force Strike as a second trait. This allows you to one-shot Poxwalker, and with the Great Destiny perk, even one-shot Cultists. This is very important in the early game because on Legendary difficulty, these 2 threats come in such large numbers that you simply don't have the action points to deal with them in a safe manner. For research, the order that will help the start of your campaign the most is as follows: Psychic Attunement, then Tides of Escalation, then Warp Field Penetration, and finally, Gates of Infinity. After Gates, you can start researching the Story Research tree until you unlock the craft roll. This should take you around 300 days. For Tentara's Hive missions, research Tides of Shadow and one of the Reflective Insight cards. This will give you 6 turns of complete immunity to the plague bombardments from the main hive. Calexis and Eversor Assassins are both great for 10 Taurus Hive missions as they can effectively ignore the bombardments. If you built your Calexis Assassin for stunning targets and you have the XP buff from Ektar, you can infinitely farm a Mobius Gate to help level up your new recruits. Calexis Assassin's stun build is excellent for carrying new recruits and feeding them high value targets for XP. Once the map expands, your priority shifts to deploying the entire Prognosticar array as soon as possible. Deploy the remaining 4 Prognosticars here, and here. The Dreadnought is nigh unusable on Legendary difficulty without his Tier 2 gear. To unlock the Tier 2 gear for the Dreadnought, you have to complete all the Mechanicus quests as quickly as possible. Delete the Tech Marine. The frigate is great but will leave a lot of your knights wounded, so don't unlock it until you have at least level 1 of the regeneration unit and never use it on Technophage missions. Do not use the repair hull option in the early game. Instead, when your ship takes damage, upgrade the voice shields to gain a free hull point and increase your ship's max health. Once you have maxed out the voice shield, then use the repair hull option to enjoy a full 6 hull points ship. Always use Exterminatus on planets that are not connected to the Prognosticar array, otherwise it will destroy the Prognosticar permanently. Of the new early game equipment you get, the Mantle of Purity and Catharsis are the 2 best options. One gives you immunity to plague and the other removes all mutations. 2 mechs that are very difficult to deal with in the early game. Everything else is good, but nowhere as good as the basic Thunderhammer with the right build. Again, most of the guide is focused on the early game because once you have acquired a decent arsenal of tier 3 equipment and upgrades, the game becomes pretty easy. Hopefully this will help. If you have any questions or comments, let me know below. Otherwise, peace!